How does a hand sanitizer win you a green card? This story is about a little inventor from a developing country that created a hand sanitizer years and years ago and wanted to get a green card. Let me show you how we did it. Hi everyone, my name is Joseph. I'm the managing partner here at Zhang Associates, where we solve legal problems with creative solutions. So the legal problem for this case is, how do we prove that this inventor is extraordinary and deserves a green card? Here are two of the biggest problems with his case. His invention, this little hand sanitizing device, was invented over 20 years ago. 20 years ago! Part of proving an EB1A case is proving that you have this sustained reputation, that you are amazing, and that you are gonna be of use in the US, that you intend to come to the US to do something useful related to your field. His invention 20 years ago was a breakthrough in a developing country, but how is that relevant to the United States today? Yes, he has a lot of awards. Yes, he was on TV a lot back then, but since then, his company didn't really blossom into a national enterprise. All of that we heavily documented in this 80-page attorney brief. Normally, we don't try to go beyond 50 pages, like that's already the industry maximum, but we prepared an 80-page biography of his innovation, about his education, and how he transformed this entire country. And we won it without a request for evidence. So let me show you how we did it. So the two things that were most difficult about this case, there's actually three things that were hard. There's a lot of things that's hard, but let's break it down to three categories. The first is, how do we prove he's gonna be relevant in the United States today? Number two, that he sustained his national reputation, that he's an inventor back then, and he's an amazing inventor now. And number three, that he is extraordinary, meeting the requirements as set forth by USCIS. Let's take these one at a time. The first and arguably the most difficult thing for this case is, what is this inventor that invented a hand sanitizer 20 years ago in a developing country, what can they bring to the US? The hand sanitizing water filtration system that you could buy in 99-cent stores or Dollar Tree stores is better than the stuff that he invented back then. So what is he going to do? So in doing this case, while we were understanding how does he exactly create a device that cleans water filtration system using the technology from 20 years ago and doing it on a massive scale for the entire country, we were able to devise a business plan on how the United States can help other countries using the same technology to help them, because the United States is not necessarily just a first-rate country, but it is also a country with a lot of philanthropic goals. They try to help a lot of other countries, and those countries might not have the same technology as the US, and even if they do, they might not be able to produce it on that scale. But if the US was able to incorporate all of his patents from back then into the infrastructure that we have now and give it to other countries, then that can actually solve a lot of good. And while we were researching this, it turns out not every city in the entire United States have the cleanest water. And there's so many news about this. So even though the United States has the technology to purify all the water, no problem, but not every city, state, nonprofit, for-profit company, household has the means to acquire those technologies and to use it. And so because of that, this technology is still useful. And we found how other US companies actually used his patent from 20 years ago to create current products. So bam, that was the link. This was a crazy case because this client never even set foot in the US. He just directly hired us to apply for an EB1A green card. We created this business plan, helped him find the link of how he would be able to take his technology and be useful in the US, prepared everything, trained him. He didn't speak a word of English. And then his case was approved and he went to the interview and his whole family got the green card. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. There's still the second problem. How do we prove that he sustained his reputation on a national level across the decades? After his invention, he obviously found some notoriety. His company made some money, but that was back then. His company didn't blow up to become this huge corporation like Clorox wipes or Lysol. It still remained relatively small. He continued to win a few awards, but it stopped. And so we needed to prove, why did everything stop? His wealth didn't grow tremendously. When we filed this case, we didn't even claim high salary because he just didn't meet it. So you would think somebody who made this big of an impact on an entire country, on something that's related to the health and safety of an entire country, would become super wealthy. But we argue that that's not how inventions work. That's not how inventors work. Elon Musk almost went broke with Tesla, if you remember correctly. There's a lot of inventors that don't actually reach that fame, right? The invention is the accomplishment itself, but how do you monetize it? That's a whole different thing. Business executives, people who are super good at business, might be able to get IPO and funding and get super rich, but that's not inventors. So when we prepared this case, we packaged him as an inventor solving epidemics and not entrepreneur that's super wealthy. And then when we looked into those competitions and those awards, we argue that these awards are something that you win once in a lifetime. He won a couple back then, but you're not supposed to compete again and again. It's a healthcare technology, right? It's like a vaccine. You don't want to mess with the algorithm. It works, it's profitable, and you just do it on a mass scale. You don't want to mess with the health and safety of an entire country. So that is what we argued. His invention won awards, and then his products is still on the shelves in that country. It's still being used. His company still exists, and that proves that is sustained through the decades. What better proof of a successful invention than the test of time? And the third thing is how to prove that he is truly extraordinary. This was difficult on a lot of levels. Yes, he has a lot of media publications, but it's all on TV and it's in a foreign language. So there's nothing that's written. And this was 20 years ago. A lot of those media publications, those companies already went bankrupt, right? And how do we prove it? It's on a national scale. So there were a lot of miniature things that we had to tackle. One thing that we did unique to this case, which we've never done before, was we hired a professional transcribing agency to watch those videos and to type it out word for word. So this transcription agency attested to the fact that this was a real publication on this news channel, and this was the footage, and they watched the entire 2-hour documentary and written everything out, and this is the final product. And then we were able to take those written documents and then highlight the key quotes, and this was an interview directly about him and his invention. So there are so many things that we had to do for this case, proving that he met the 3 criteria, proving that he's extraordinary, proving that his invention was original and it contributed to the well-being of the country, and then taking all of that and how to link it to what he is going to do in the US. So that's the case, an 80-page attorney brief, a 1,000-page submission, no request for evidence, no RFE. The case was immediately approved, and this case was approved right before COVID, right before the epidemic ravaged the United States and around the world. And this is one of our epidemic success stories because we brought in a lot of epidemic specialists into the US on an EB1A, and that's truly US's competitive edge, right? All these experts coming into the country, solving problems before problems even arise. If you have any questions about this case or any other case, if you are dreaming about an EB1A, I would love to talk to you. Take care. Bye-bye.